I spent 2 years building what I thought was the closest friendship of my life with someone I met in an online gaming community, but when I finally discovered who they really were, I realized I'd been manipulated by a predator who had been using me to get close to my younger sister. It started innocently enough in a popular MMORPG called Realm of Eternity. I was 16 and had been playing for about 6 months when I joined a guild called the Shadowhunters. That's where I met Alex, who went by the username DarkKnight47. Alex seemed like the perfect gaming partner. They were skilled at the game, always willing to help with difficult quests, and had a great sense of humor that made even the most tedious grinding sessions enjoyable. We started playing together regularly, and our friendship quickly expanded beyond the game. "You're really good at this," Alex messaged me after we'd successfully completed a particularly challenging raid. "Most people your age don't have the patience for strategy games like this." I was flattered. Alex claimed to be 19, which made them seem mature and experienced compared to my high school friends who were mostly interested in simpler games and social media drama. Within a few weeks, we were talking daily through the game's messaging system, discussing everything from school stress to family problems to our dreams for the future. Alex was an amazing listener who always seemed to know exactly what to say when I was having a bad day. "I wish I had friends like you in real life," I confided during one of our late-night conversations. "You actually understand me." "I feel the same way," Alex replied. "Sometimes online friendships can be more genuine than the ones we have in person. There's less pressure to pretend to be someone you're not." That resonated with me deeply. At school, I felt like I had to maintain a certain image and couldn't really open up to anyone about my insecurities or problems. With Alex, I could be completely honest about everything. Our conversations gradually moved from the game to other platforms. Alex suggested we start using Discord for voice chat during gaming sessions, which made our interactions feel more personal and immediate. The first time I heard Alex's voice, I was surprised by how mature they sounded. Their voice was deeper than I'd expected, and they spoke with confidence and authority that made them seem older than 19. "You sound different than I imagined," I mentioned during our first voice chat. "Really? How so?" "More mature, I guess. You seem really wise for someone who's only 3 years older than me." Alex laughed. "I've always been told I'm an old soul. I grew up pretty fast due to family circumstances." That explanation made sense to me. Alex had mentioned having a difficult childhood with absent parents and having to take care of themselves from a young age. It would explain why they seemed so much more mature than other teenagers I knew. Our friendship deepened over the following months. Alex became the person I turned to for advice about everything: problems with friends, stress about college applications, conflicts with my parents. They always had thoughtful responses and made me feel heard and valued. "You're so smart for your age," Alex would often say. "Most 16-year-olds don't think about things as deeply as you do. You're so mature and responsible. Your parents are lucky to have a daughter like you. You have such good instincts about people. You should trust your judgment more." The constant validation was intoxicating. Alex made me feel special and understood in a way that no one in my real life did. About 6 months into our friendship, Alex started asking more personal questions about my family and home life. At first, the questions seemed natural. Friends ask about each other's families all the time. "Do you have any siblings?" Alex asked during one of our gaming sessions. "Yeah, I have a younger sister. She's 13. That's a fun age. Is she into gaming too?" "Not really. She's more into social media and typical middle school stuff." "What's she like? Are you two close?" I found myself talking about Maya for almost an hour, describing her personality, her interests, her friends, and our relationship as sisters. Alex seemed genuinely interested and asked thoughtful follow-up questions. "She sounds really sweet," Alex said. "You're a good big sister for looking out for her." I try to be. Sometimes I worry about her, though. She's starting to get interested in boys and social media, and there are a lot of creeps out there. That's smart of you to be protective. The internet can be dangerous for young girls who don't understand how predators operate. Alex's concern for Maya's safety seemed genuine and made me feel like they truly cared about my family's well-being. Over time, Alex's questions about Maya became more frequent and detailed. They wanted to know about her school, her friends, her hobbies, and her online activities. I didn't think much of it at first. Alex had become like family to me, and family members naturally take interest in each other's siblings. "Does Maya play any online games?" Alex asked one evening. "Not the kind we play. She's more into mobile games and social media apps." "What about Discord or other chat platforms?" "Yeah, she uses Discord to talk to her friends from school." "That's cool. Maybe she'd be interested in trying some of the games we play. I could teach her if she ever wants to learn." The suggestion seemed innocent enough. Alex had been patient and helpful when teaching me advanced gaming strategies, so it made sense they'd be willing to help my sister too. "I could mention it to her," I said, "though I'm not sure she'd be interested in our type of games." "No pressure. Just thought it might be a fun way for you two to bond over a shared hobby." A few days later, I casually mentioned to Maya that my gaming friend had offered to teach her some games if she was interested. "Is this the friend you're always talking to online?" she asked. "Yeah, Alex. They're really cool and great at teaching people how to play." "Maybe. What games do they play?" I described some of the simpler games that Alex and I had played together, emphasizing how patient and helpful they were with beginners. They sound nice, Maya said. Maybe I could try it sometime. I passed along Maya's tentative interest to Alex, who seemed excited about the possibility of her joining us for some casual gaming sessions. That's awesome. I'd love to meet your sister. She sounds really fun, based on everything you've told me about her. A week later, I arranged for Maya to join one of our Discord calls during a simple co-op game session. Alex was charming and friendly, making Maya feel welcomed and included without being overwhelming. Your sister is really cool, Alex told me after Maya had logged off. She's got a great personality. Thanks, she liked you too. She said you were really nice and not weird like most of my online friends. I'm glad she felt comfortable. It's important for young people to feel safe in online spaces. Over the next few weeks, Maya occasionally joined our gaming sessions. Alex was always patient and encouraging, helping her learn game mechanics and celebrating her achievements. Maya seemed to enjoy the experience and looked forward to our group gaming nights. Alex is really fun to play with, Maya told me one day. They're not condescending like most older kids. I was happy that my online friend and my sister were getting along well. It felt like my two worlds were successfully merging. But then Alex started suggesting private gaming sessions with just Maya. I think Maya would learn faster if she had some one-on-one instruction, Alex mentioned during one of our conversations. Group sessions can be distracting for beginners. That makes sense, I agreed. She does seem to struggle a bit when there are multiple people talking at once. Would it be okay if I set up some private tutoring sessions with her, just for an hour or two to help her develop her skills faster? The request seemed reasonable. Alex had been incredibly helpful in teaching me advanced gaming strategies, and Maya would probably benefit from individual attention. I think she'd like that, I said. She gets frustrated sometimes when she can't keep up with us. Great, I'll reach out to her and we can schedule something. I gave Alex permission to message Maya directly to set up private gaming sessions. At the time, it felt like a natural progression of their friendship and a generous offer from someone who had already given me so much of their time and attention. Maya started having weekly one-on-one gaming sessions with Alex. She seemed to enjoy them and was definitely improving her skills. She'd come to my room after their sessions, excited to show me new techniques she'd learned. Alex taught me this really cool combo move, she'd say, demonstrating some advanced strategy. They're such a good teacher. But gradually, I noticed changes in Maya's behavior that concerned me. She became more secretive about her online activities and would quickly close her laptop screen when I entered her room. What are you working on? I'd ask. Just homework, she'd reply, but I could see Discord was open on her taskbar. Maya also started spending more time online overall, often staying up late on her computer even on school nights. Maya, it's almost midnight, I said one evening when I noticed light coming from under her door. You have school tomorrow. I'm just finishing up something, she called back. I'll go to bed soon. When I mentioned Maya's increased screen time to Alex, they seemed unconcerned. She's probably just getting really into gaming, Alex suggested. It's normal for new players to want to practice a lot when they're learning. Maybe, but she seems more secretive about what she's doing online. That's probably just typical teenager behavior. She's at the age where kids want more privacy from their siblings. Alex's explanation seemed reasonable, but something still bothered me about the changes in Maya's behavior. The first real red flag came when Maya asked me about meeting Alex in person. Alex mentioned they might be visiting our area soon, she said casually one day. They wondered if we'd want to hang out in real life. Really, they didn't mention anything to me about traveling here. They said it might be a surprise visit. They wanted to coordinate with me first before telling you. That seems strange. Alex and I talked almost daily, and they'd never mentioned any travel plans. Why would they coordinate with Maya instead of me for a visit? What did you tell them? I asked. I said I'd have to ask you and our parents first, but they said it might be better to keep it between us for now, as a surprise. Alarm bells started going off in my head. Legitimate friends don't ask teenagers to keep meetings secret from their families. Maya, you shouldn't meet anyone from the internet without mom and dad knowing about it, I said firmly. But you trust Alex, right? You've been friends with them for like 2 years. That's different. I'm older and I've never met them in person either. Maya looked disappointed but agreed not to arrange any in-person meetings without family approval. That night, I thought carefully about Alex's suggestion that Maya keep their potential meeting secret. The more I considered it, the more inappropriate it seemed. Why would a 19-year-old want to meet my 13-year-old sister without family supervision? I decided to do some investigating into Alex's background. Despite being online friends for almost 2 years, I realized I knew very little concrete information about their real life. Alex had always been vague about personal details like their last name, specific location, school, or work. They'd mentioned living in a city about 3 hours from us, but had never been specific about which city. I started paying closer attention to inconsistencies in Alex's stories about their life. They'd mentioned attending college, but couldn't provide specific details about their classes or professors when I asked. They claimed to have a part-time job, but was always available for gaming sessions regardless of the time of day. What's your major again? I asked during one of our conversations. Computer science, Alex replied, which was the same answer they'd given before. That's cool. What's your favorite class this semester? Oh, they're all pretty similar. Lots of programming and theory. The response was disappointingly vague for someone who was supposedly passionate about their field of study. I also started noticing that Alex seemed to have unlimited free time for someone who claimed to be a full-time college student with a part-time job. They were available for gaming sessions at all hours and never mentioned homework, exams, or work schedules. When I casually asked about their work schedule, Alex was evasive. It's pretty flexible. I mostly work from home doing freelance stuff. What kind of freelance work? Web design, some programming projects, nothing too exciting. Again, the details were vague and hard to verify. But the biggest red flag came when I decided to do a reverse image search on Alex's profile picture. They'd been using the same avatar across all platforms, a photo of an attractive young person with dark hair and a friendly smile. The reverse image search revealed that the photo belonged to a modeling portfolio of someone named Jordan Martinez. The real Jordan was indeed 19 and lived in California, not anywhere near our state. Alex had been using someone else's photo as their profile picture for our entire friendship. My heart sank as I realized the implications. If Alex was lying about their appearance, what else were they lying about? I confronted Alex about the fake profile picture during our next conversation. I did a reverse image search on your profile photo, I said directly. It belongs to a model named Jordan Martinez. There was a long pause before Alex responded. Oh, that. Yeah, I use a fake photo for privacy reasons. You can't be too careful online. Privacy from what? Just general internet safety. I don't like having my real photo attached to gaming accounts. The explanation seemed weak. Most people who were concerned about privacy simply didn't use photos at all, rather than stealing someone else's image. So what do you actually look like? I asked. Pretty similar to the photo, actually. I chose it because it looked like me. But I was no longer inclined to believe anything Alex told me about their appearance or identity. That night, I had a serious conversation with Maya about our online friend. I found out that Alex has been using a fake profile picture, I told her. I'm starting to think they might not be who they claim to be. Maya looked concerned. What do you mean? I mean, they might be lying about their age, their appearance, maybe everything. But they've been so nice to us, and they've never asked for anything weird. Have they asked you to keep any secrets from me or our parents? Maya hesitated before answering. Not really, just normal stuff. Like what? Like, they said our conversations were special, and that I shouldn't share everything with you because you might get jealous of our friendship. My blood ran cold. Alex had been working to isolate Maya from me, creating a separate relationship that I wasn't supposed to know about. What else have they told you to keep secret? They said I was really mature for my age and that most adults wouldn't understand our friendship because they'd think it was weird for someone older to be friends with someone younger. Those were classic predator tactics, convincing a child that their relationship was special and needed to be kept secret from family members who wouldn't understand. Maya, I think Alex might be trying to manipulate you. Those are things that predators say to children to isolate them from their families. But Alex has never said anything inappropriate, Maya protested. They've never asked for photos or personal information. What kind of things do you talk about during your private gaming sessions? Just normal stuff. School, friends, growing up. They give me advice about dealing with middle school drama. Have they asked about your body or about sexual topics? No, nothing like that. They've been really respectful. I was relieved that Alex hadn't been overtly sexual with Maya, but I was still concerned about the grooming behavior, the secretiveness, the flattery about being mature, and the attempts to create a special relationship separate from family oversight. I decided to investigate Alex's identity more thoroughly. If they were indeed a predator, other people needed to be warned. I created a fake social media account and started searching for information that might help me identify Alex's real identity. I looked through our gaming guild's member list and tried to cross-reference usernames across different platforms. After hours of searching, I found a forum post where someone with Alex's username had shared more personal information than they'd ever shared with me. The post was from 3 years earlier, before we'd met. According to the post, the person behind Dark Knight 47 was actually a 34-year-old man named Richard who lived alone and worked night shifts at a warehouse. The post described feeling lonely and disconnected from people his own age. My hands shook as I read the information. Alex wasn't a 19-year-old college student. They were a 34-year-old man who had been lying about every aspect of their identity. A 34-year-old man had been befriending my 13-year-old sister, isolating her from family oversight, and convincing her to keep their relationship secret. I immediately called the police. I need to report an adult who I think has been grooming my younger sister online, I told the dispatcher. How old is your sister? 13. The person has been pretending to be a teenager but is actually in their 30s. Detective Sarah Kim was assigned to our case. She explained that online predators often spent months or years building trust with children before attempting to meet them or escalate to sexual conversations. The fact that this person has been patient and hasn't made overtly sexual comments doesn't mean they aren't dangerous, Detective Kim explained. Many predators use a long grooming process to build trust and normalize inappropriate inappropriate relationships. She helped us set up a controlled situation where we could gather more evidence about Alex's true intentions. We continued the online friendship while documenting all conversations and attempts at manipulation. Sure enough, once Alex realized I was becoming suspicious, they intensified their efforts to isolate Maya and arrange an in-person meeting. I really think we should meet up soon, Alex messaged Maya privately. I care about you so much and want to make sure you're okay. Your sister seems like she's trying to control you and keep us apart. Maybe we could meet without telling her, Maya responded, following the script Detective Kim had given her. Just for a little while. That's a great idea. I know a place where we could hang out privately and just talk. Somewhere your sister and parents wouldn't think to look for you. The messages were clearly an attempt to lure a 13-year-old to a secret meeting location. Combined with the evidence of identity fraud and grooming behavior, it was enough for police to take action. Detective Kim traced Alex's IP address and real identity. Richard Thompson, 34, was arrested at his apartment along with evidence of extensive online predatory behavior targeting multiple children. His computer contained conversations with dozens of minors across various gaming platforms and social media sites. He'd been using different fake identities to befriend children, always claiming to be a teenager himself. Your case helped us identify at least 20 other potential victims, Detective Kim told us after the arrest. This man has been operating for years, building relationships with children and gradually working toward in-person meetings. The investigation revealed that Richard had successfully met several children in person under false pretenses. While some encounters had remained non-sexual, others had involved inappropriate physical contact and sexual abuse. One victim, a 14-year-old boy named Tyler, had been meeting Richard regularly for 6 months before his parents discovered the relationship. Richard had convinced Tyler that their friendship was special and that adults wouldn't understand their connection. He made me feel like I was the only person who really understood him, Tyler testified during the trial. He said we were best friends and that he needed me to keep our friendship secret because other people would be jealous. Another victim, a 12-year-old girl named Sophie, had been sending Richard photos of herself in response to his patient grooming over the course of a year. He'd convinced her that sharing pictures was a normal part of their friendship and that she could trust him completely. He never asked for anything inappropriate at first, Sophie's mother explained during a victim impact statement. He spent months building trust and making my daughter feel special before gradually pushing boundaries. The pattern was consistent across all of Richard's victims. He would spend extensive time building relationships with children online, presenting himself as a teenager who understood them better than the adults in their lives. He would gradually introduce secrecy, convince them they were mature for their age, and work toward in-person meetings. This defendant is a sophisticated predator who used advanced manipulation techniques to exploit vulnerable children, the prosecutor argued during the trial. His methodical approach to grooming and his use of false identities demonstrates clear intent to harm minors. Maya had to testify about her interactions with Richard during his trial. The experience was traumatic, but she was brave and helped ensure he faced consequences for his actions. I thought he really cared about me, Maya said during her testimony. He made me feel special and understood. I didn't realize that those feelings were being used against me. The defense attorney tried to argue that Richard had never physically harmed Maya and that their conversations had remained appropriate. But the prosecution presented evidence of his pattern of behavior with other victims and the clear progression toward attempting to meet Maya in person. The defendant's patient grooming of this victim follows the exact same pattern he used with children he did successfully abuse, the prosecutor explained. The only difference is that this victim's sister recognized the warning signs before the defendant could complete his plan. Richard was convicted on multiple charges, including attempted child luring, identity fraud, possession of child pornography found on his computer, and sexual abuse of the children he had successfully met in person. He was sentenced to 15 years in prison without the possibility of parole. During the sentencing hearing, Richard showed no remorse for his actions. He maintained that his relationships with children were genuine friendships, and that the adults involved had misunderstood his intentions. I never meant to hurt anyone, he said during his statement to the court. These were real friendships with kids who needed someone to understand them. But the evidence presented during the trial clearly demonstrated that Richard's behavior was predatory and calculated. He had detailed notes about each child's vulnerabilities, family situations, and the best approaches for manipulating them. The defendant kept extensive records of his grooming activities, Detective Kim testified. He had files on over 50 children containing personal information, psychological profiles, and strategies for gaining their trust. Richard's computer also contained a disturbing collection of child pornography and detailed fantasies about abusing the children he had been grooming online. This wasn't someone who accidentally crossed boundaries, the judge said during sentencing. This was a predator who systematically targeted vulnerable children with the intent to abuse them. But the legal consequences were only part of our recovery process. Both Maya and I needed extensive therapy to process the betrayal and manipulation we'd experienced. Online predators often target children who seem isolated or vulnerable, our therapist Dr. Martinez explained. They're skilled at identifying kids who are looking for understanding and validation. Maya had fit that profile perfectly. As a 13-year-old dealing with typical middle school social pressures, she was eager for the validation and understanding that Richard had offered. He made me feel like I was special and mature, Maya explained during one of our therapy sessions. No one else treated me like my opinions mattered the way he did. That's exactly how predators operate, Dr. Martinez replied. They provide the attention and validation that children crave, then use those good feelings to manipulate behavior. Maya struggled with trusting people online after learning how thoroughly she'd been deceived. The experience taught her to be more cautious about sharing personal information and forming close relationships with people she'd never met in person. I feel stupid for believing him, Maya said during one particularly difficult therapy session. I should have known something was wrong. You were 13 years old, Dr. Martinez reminded her. Adults who prey on children are experts at manipulation. You weren't stupid. You were a normal kid who trusted someone who seemed kind and understanding. For me, the betrayal was particularly devastating because I genuinely believed Alex was my closest friend. Learning that our entire 2-year friendship had been part of a predatory scheme to access my sister was heartbreaking. Predators often befriend family members or older siblings as a way to gain access to younger children, Detective Kim explained during one of our follow-up meetings. Your friendship with Richard was never genuine. It was always part of his plan to get close to Maya. The realization that every conversation, every shared experience, every moment of connection I'd felt with Alex had been calculated and fake was devastating. I questioned my ability to judge people's character and wondered how I'd been so completely fooled. You weren't fooled by anything obvious, Dr. Martinez assured me. Richard was skilled at maintaining a false identity and creating genuine-seeming emotional connections. Many adults would have been deceived by his performance. But understanding that Richard was skilled at deception didn't make the betrayal feel less personal. I'd shared my deepest insecurities and fears with someone who had been planning to hurt my family. The experience also affected my relationship with Maya. I felt guilty for introducing Richard into her life and for not recognizing the warning signs sooner. You couldn't have known, Maya assured me during one of our joint therapy sessions. You were trying to be a good sister by sharing something you enjoyed with me. But I should have been more protective. I should have questioned why he was so interested in talking to a 13-year-old. You did protect me, Maya replied. You figured out something was wrong and stopped it before anything really bad happened. Dr. Martinez helped us work through the complex emotions around trust, family relationships, and online safety. She taught us to recognize the warning signs of predatory behavior and strategies for staying safe in online communities. Not everyone online has bad intentions, she explained, but it's important to maintain healthy skepticism and never agree to secret relationships or meetings. We learned about the grooming process and how predators use patience and emotional manipulation to exploit children. The education was disturbing but necessary for understanding what had happened to us and preventing future victimization. Predators look for children who seem lonely, isolated, or in conflict with their families, Dr. Martinez explained. They present themselves as understanding allies who can provide the support that children feel they're missing. The therapy process took months, but gradually Maya and I were able to process the betrayal and develop healthier approaches to online relationships. We learned to trust our instincts when something felt wrong and to maintain transparency with family members about our online activities. Maya returned to gaming and social media, but with much more awareness of potential dangers. She learned to question requests for personal information and to be suspicious of adults who wanted to form close relationships with her online. I still enjoy talking to people online, Maya said during one of our final therapy sessions, but now I know what to watch out for. I'll never let someone isolate me from my family again. The experience also brought our family closer together. My parents, who had been relatively hands-off about our online activities, became more involved in monitoring our internet use and educating themselves about online safety. We learned that we can't just trust that our kids will be safe online, my mother said during a family therapy session. We need to be actively involved in understanding what they're doing and who they're talking to. My father added, we also learned the importance of maintaining open communication so that our kids feel comfortable coming to us when something doesn't feel right. The case attracted media attention, and we were asked to participate in interviews about online safety and predator awareness. While the attention was sometimes uncomfortable, we felt it was important to share our story to help other families recognize similar warning signs. Richard's methods were sophisticated and patient, I explained during one television interview. He didn't immediately ask for anything inappropriate or try to meet in person. He spent 2 years building trust before making his move. Maya added, he made me feel special and mature, like I was different from other kids my age. That should have been a warning sign, but it felt good at the time. Our story was used in educational materials about online safety and predator awareness. schools began incorporating information about grooming tactics into their internet safety curricula, and law enforcement agencies used our case as an example in training programs. This case demonstrates how patient and sophisticated online predators can be, Detective Kim said during a conference presentation about internet crimes against children. It shows the importance of family communication and trusting your instincts when something feels wrong. The investigation into Richard's activities also led to the identification and rescue of other children who were being groomed by him and his associates. His computer contained evidence of a network of predators who shared information about targeting and manipulating children. We were able to prevent several other children from being victimized based on the information we found in Richard's files, Detective Kim told us during a follow-up meeting. Your willingness to report suspicious behavior likely saved multiple children from abuse. But the most important outcome was that Maya was safe and that our family had learned valuable lessons about online safety and communication. We developed new protocols for internet use and maintained ongoing conversations about potential dangers. We check in regularly about online interactions, my mother explained during a follow-up interview. Our kids know they can talk to us about anything that makes them uncomfortable, and we've learned to ask specific questions about their online relationships. Years later, Maya and I both remained active in online communities, but with much greater awareness of potential dangers. We both became advocates for internet safety education and shared our story with other families and organizations. The experience was traumatic, but it also taught us valuable lessons, Maya reflected during a recent conversation. I'm more cautious now, but I haven't let it stop me from enjoying online friendships and communities. I agreed. We learned that predators can be very convincing and patient, but we also learned to trust our instincts and maintain transparency with family members about our online relationships. The online friend who wasn't who they claimed to be taught us that people can maintain elaborate deceptions for years while planning to harm the people who trust them. Age, appearance, background, interests, everything can be fabricated by someone with predatory intentions. But the experience also demonstrated the importance of family communication, trusting your instincts when something feels wrong, and being willing to investigate inconsistencies even when you don't want to believe something bad about someone you care about. Richard Thompson may have successfully deceived us for 2 years, but in the end, his own impatience and escalating predatory behavior led to his downfall. The online friend who wasn't who they claimed to be is now in prison where he can't harm any more children. Most importantly, Maya was protected from serious harm because we maintained family communication and trusted our instincts when something didn't feel right. The experience taught us that online safety isn't just about avoiding obvious dangers. It's about recognizing subtle manipulation tactics and maintaining healthy skepticism about people who seem too good to be true. The scars from Richard's manipulation and betrayal will probably last forever, serving as a reminder that not everyone online has good intentions, no matter how convincing their performance might be. But they also serve as a reminder of the importance of family protection, open communication, and trusting your instincts when something feels wrong.